Welcome to Revisit Books podcast, where we turn books into bite-sized wisdom you can use every day.
We are starting a journey today into a philosophy that has really shaped a lot of the conversation around peak performance and, well, just how people structure their lives. The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma.
Right, and anyone just looking at that title might think, oh great, another book telling me to wake up at dawn.
Exactly. But what we found looking into it is that it's actually much more nuanced than that. It's less about the alarm clock itself.
And much more about what you do with that very first hour of your day. That's the crucial bit.
So Robin Sharma, he spent, what, 4 years writing this? Traveling quite a bit, too.
Yeah, 4 years across multiple countries, Italy, South Africa, Russia, really immersing himself to distill this methodology. But the core ideas, he's actually been teaching them for over 20 years.
To some pretty high-profile people, I gather.
Oh, absolutely. Celebrated entrepreneurs, CEOs of, legendary companies, sports superstars, music icons, even royalty. So this isn't just theory, it's been applied at the highest levels. And the book itself promises quite a lot, a heroic transformation.
It does. Specifically in creativity, productivity, prosperity, and also, importantly, in your service to the world. It's ambitious.
It is ambitious. And what I found interesting is how it's presented. It's not like a textbook, is it? It's wrapped up in a story.
That's right. A fictional narrative. It's almost like an adventure, which helps the lessons kind of stick with you, I think. Makes them more memorable than just a list of rules.
So tell us about the characters in this story.
Well, you've got three main figures. First, there's the entrepreneur. She's outwardly very successful, a leader in her field, but internally she's struggling, a lot of stress, deep emotional stuff. The narrative actually mentions fatherless daughter syndrome. She's looking for something more, something to fill that emptiness.
Okay, then there's the artist.
Yes, an eccentric painter. He's searching for, true creativity, real mastery, trying to break through from just being good to being genuinely world-class in his art.
And the third character ties them together, the billionaire.
Mr. Riley, yes. And he's quite something. He first shows up disguised as a homeless person, talking in this sort of bizarre surfer slang.
Wait, really? Surfer slang?
Yeah, but then he'll immediately pivot into these incredibly profound philosophical insights. He's the main mentor figure, the one who delivers the whole system. Apparently, he himself was mentored by someone called the Spellbinder.
Wow. Okay. Eccentric is definitely the word, and the core principle holding this all together.
It's that commitment, the non-negotiable commitment to rise at 5 a.m. to grab hold of what they call the victory hour.
Right, the victory hour. So our mission today then is to unpack that methodology, pull out the philosophy behind it, give you, the listener, a way to understand these principles that promise, well, a pretty extraordinary life.
An unusually productive, extremely prodigious, and exceptionally influential life, as the book puts it. It's about boosting output, yes, but making sure it's grounded in real inner strength and meaning, not just busy work.
It's framed almost as an awakening, isn't it? Not just a schedule change.
Exactly. It targets your whole approach to how you engage with the world.
So before we dive into the how, let's talk about the who. Who is this really for? Because, maybe if you're totally content this isn't your thing, but the book seems aimed at specific kinds of people who are maybe successful but still struggling.
That's a key point. The first profile is definitely the overwhelmed high achiever. Think of the entrepreneur character. Highly competent, looks great on paper, successful by all external measures.
But inside?
Inside, they feel empty, stifled, constantly battling what Sharma calls stressful worries and endless responsibilities that stifle originality. They're basically drowning in the success they've built.
That sounds painfully familiar for a lot of people today. And the book takes aim at technology too, doesn't it?
Oh, strongly. It argues technology often enslaves us instead of liberating us. And it introduces this really striking term, digital dementia.
Digital dementia. What does that mean exactly?
It describes how our constant connectivity, the endless notifications, the fractured attention spans, how it slowly degrades our ability to focus deeply, to concentrate, to even retain information properly.
Like we're losing our mental edge because we're always distracted.
Precisely. The entrepreneur in the story is hooked on her devices, always needing that next dopamine hit from a notification. And the book argues this is actively draining the cognitive fuel needed for deep, original work. It's costing you your focus, potentially your fortune. So the system is positioned as an antidote to that specific modern fatigue.
Okay, so that's the overwhelmed achiever. Who else?
Then there's the stagnant achiever. This is someone who is doing okay, maybe even quite well, But deep down, they have this nagging feeling, this sense they were meant for more, for masterwork, for something legendary.
Hmm.
But they've somehow settled.
Lost their fire, maybe.
Yeah, or perhaps betrayed their own potential. Sharma uses some pretty strong language here, things like dying at 30 and being buried at 80.
Oof, that hits hard.
It does. Or living the same week a few thousand times and calling it a life. It really targets that deep disappointment that comes not necessarily from failing, but from settling for mediocrity when you know you're capable of more. If you feel like you're just coasting, this book is designed to jolt you awake.
Okay. And then there's a focus on mastery itself, right? For people who understand it takes work.
Yes, the seeker of mastery and rigor. This is for people who appreciate that world-class performance isn't about finding shortcuts. It requires hard work, discipline, pushing boundaries.
And the book has some strong words for the opposite of that.
It really does. It critiques what it calls the culture of soft, weak, and delicate people who can't keep promises. It's a direct challenge to that instant gratification mindset. True mastery, the kind that leaves a legacy, demands pushing past your comfort zone consistently. It's about rigor.
Rigor being a key word here.
Absolutely. It's about depth, focus, and that intense discipline. World class begins where your comfort zone ends, essentially.
And finally, it circles back to the inner world.
Yes, the person seeking inner wholeness. This goes back to the entrepreneur trying to fill those emotional holes, past traumas, fears, with external validation like money or status.
So it's for anyone realizing their external chase is maybe covering up an internal need?
Exactly. The ultimate goal isn't just productivity, it's achieving genuine personal freedom by calibrating what the book calls the 4 inner sets: mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set. Getting those aligned is presented as the foundation for everything else.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's get into the actual methodology. It starts with this idea of the day stacking foundation.
Right. This is kind of the operating system for the whole philosophy.
Yeah.
The core idea is you build an extraordinary life, not by trying to make huge, sudden leaps, but by focusing intensely on winning each day.
Just making today great.
Exactly. And if you consistently create great days, they naturally stack up over time into a great week, a great month, a great life. It's all about those small, consistent micro wins, like 1% improvements.
Ah, yes. The 1% idea, the numbers on that are quite powerful, improving by just 1% daily.
Leads to a 30% improvement in a month, roughly. But compounded over a year, that's at least a 365% elevation. It's the power of compounding applied to your personal habits.
Sounds simple, but the consistency is the hard part, I imagine.
That's always the challenge. And the book argues the most crucial 1% improvement you can make is owning your morning. Winning that first hour, the victory hour, sets the tone. It exponentially lifts the quality of your entire day.
And this focus on small details connects to that idea of rigor you mentioned.
Directly. Rigor, in this context, means that deep, almost painful attention to the smallest details. Refined finishes. It's positioned as the absolute price of admission for playing at a world-class level. The billionaire mentor hammers this home. Heroes, titans, icons, they all demonstrate this rigor.
And this is contrasted with, what was the phrase, collective deprofessionalization.
Yes, the collective deprofessionalization of business. It's a provocative term, maybe controversial.
Sounds like it.
But it describes what Sharma sees as the vast majority, maybe the 95%, who operate with kind of light, imprecise thinking. They look for the easy path. They're distracted by devices at work. They mistake being busy for being productive.
So rigor is the opposite, deliberate, focused detail.
Precisely. It's about calibration, dialing in the finest details, the best attitudes. There's a great analogy used in the book.
The spaghetti?
Yeah, making a simple spaghetti pomodoro. Seems basic, right?
Yeah.
Pasta, tomatoes, basil, olive oil.
Pretty straightforward.
But to make it perfect, that requires incredible skill, respect for each ingredient, attention to the tiniest details. It demands unusual expertise and uncommon prowess, as the book says.
Right.
World-class results often come from perfecting the fundamentals, not from complexity. That's rigor.
Okay, so we have day stacking as the foundation, rigor as the standard.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the internal engine, those 4 sets. You mentioned mindset isn't enough on its own.
Right, the billionaire mentor is very clear on this. Just having a positive mindset, thinking optimistic thoughts. That's a hollow triumph if the other parts aren't aligned.
What are the other parts again?
Heart set, health set, and soul set. You need to work on all 4 to achieve what he calls personal sovereignty.
Let's break them down. Mindset, what's the specific focus here beyond just positive thinking?
It's about actively installing the psychology of possibility. The big challenge is our brain's innate negativity bias. We're wired to look for threats, focus on what's wrong, what could go wrong. Self-doubt is kind of the default.
So mindset work is about consciously counteracting that default.
Yes, through sustained effort,
Ah,
not just wishful thinking, but actively training your mind to see potential and overcome that built-in bias towards limitation.
okay. Now, heart set. This is where it gets into the deeper emotional stuff, like the entrepreneur's fatherless daughter syndrome. Why does a high achiever need to deal with old emotional wounds at 5 a.m. if they just want to be more productive?
That's a really crucial question, and it's maybe the most profound part of the book. The argument is that those old wounds, those resentments, those fears, they are massive energy leaks.
Oh, so?
They manifest as anxiety, procrastination, self-sabotage. They drain your focus and willpower. The book argues that until you start healing these emotional holes, you'll constantly be chasing external things, money, status, to try and fill the void inside. And that chase is ultimately exhausting and unsustainable.
So heart set work is about plugging those leaks, freeing up energy,
Exactly. It's about cultivating your emotional life, focusing on radical love, compassion. And a huge part of that is forgiveness, letting go of old resentments.
forgiving others.
Yes. And there's a powerful reframe offered. People who cause pain usually do so because they are in pain themselves. Understanding their suffering, having compassion for it, helps you release the toxic resentment you're holding on to. Holding grudge costs you energy every single day.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. Okay, next is health set. This seems more straightforward.
It is, but it's non-negotiable. Peak physical health and vitality are essential. There's a great line, health is the crown on the well person's head that only the ill person can see.
That's good.
It highlights that trade-off we often make, sacrificing health for wealth when young, then wishing we could trade wealth for health when older. The focus here is also on longevity. You need robust health to sustain mastery over the long haul.
Right, you can't be world class if you burn out physically. And the last one, soul set.
Soulset connects to your deeper purpose, your spiritual core. It's about focusing on contribution, impact, usefulness, decency. It answers the why. Why are you doing all this demanding work?
It's about more than just personal gain.
Much more. It's about answering that sublime call to express your genius and critically avoiding the pain of potential unused.
Wow.
If your only goal is making money, the book suggests you're missing the point. True fulfillment comes from being useful, from making a difference. That's Soulset.
Okay, foundation, fuel. Now the engine. The 20-20-20 formula. This is the practical bit for that 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. victory hour.
Yes, this is the core tactical methodology. It breaks that first hour into 3 distinct 20-minute blocks designed to systematically put the philosophy into action.
So, pocket 1. 5:00 a.m. to 5:20 a.m. is move. Intense exercise. Sweating. Why start with something so physically demanding? Why not say gentle stretching?
It's about the neuroscience. Intense exercise, the kind that really gets your heart rate up and makes you sweat, triggers the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
BDNF. What's that do?
Think of it like Miracle Grow for your brain. It helps repair brain cells damaged by stress, accelerates neural connections. It actually promotes neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells.
So you're literally upgrading your brain first thing in the morning.
That's the idea. It gives you a gargantuan competitive advantage, as Sharma puts it. You burn off the stress hormone cortisol, and you flood your system with positive neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin, alongside that BDNF.
So it clears out the stress and primes the brain for focus.
Exactly. It embodies that Spartan idea. One who sweats more in training bleeds less in war. You're preparing yourself for the day's challenges before they even start. Plus, it kickstarts your metabolism.
Okay, makes sense. Intense start. Then pocket 2, 5:2 a.m. to 5:40 a.m. is reflect. Moving from intense sweat to stillness seems like a big shift.
It is, but it's intentional. You use that heightened, chemically optimized state from the exercise to dive into quiet contemplation. This pocket is all about self-awareness, gaining wisdom, entering tranquility. Silence is key here.
What kind of reflection? Just sitting quietly?
That's part of it, but also specific activities. Journaling is big. Getting thoughts, fears, gratitude down on paper, practicing gratitude explicitly, and crucially, writing what's called the pre-performance blueprint.
A blueprint for the day.
Yeah, basically scripting your ideal day. What outcomes do you want? What mindset will you adopt? What potential pitfalls will you navigate? It's a pre-commitment strategy.
So writing it down makes it more likely to happen.
Research suggests so, yes.
Yeah.
It increases focus and discipline significantly. It's about setting clear intentions. Sharma quotes Pascal. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. In our noisy world, that silence is powerful.
Powerful. Okay, we've moved, we've reflected. Pocket 3. 5:40 folks a.m. to 6:00 a.m. is grow, dedicated learning time.
Right. 20 minutes purely focused on expanding your knowledge, your professional capabilities. Being a lifelong student, the book really emphasizes how much top performers, billionaires, value learning, they invest in it.
What does that look like in practice? Reading.
Reading books, definitely. Autobiographies of great leaders, books on innovation, productivity, your specific field, listening to audiobooks, podcasts like this one perhaps, consuming high-quality educational content.
The key is it's learning, not just entertainment.
Exactly. It's deliberate growth time, prioritizing self-education over distraction or just, scrolling through social media, investing in your future self.
That whole 5 to 6 a.m. hour sounds incredibly structured and impactful, but you can't just run at that intensity all the time, right? What about burnout?
That leads perfectly into the next key concept, the twin cycles of elite performance and solitude. This is crucial for sustainability.
Twin cycles.
Yes, you have the high excellence cycle, HEC. That's the period of intense, focused, passionate work, pushing your limits, but you absolutely must balance that with the deep refueling cycle, DRC.
DRC being rest and recovery.
Exactly. Intentional rest, downtime, vacation. The book argues that elite production without quiet recovery leads to inevitable and lasting depletion. You burn out.
Like an athlete needing recovery days.
Precisely the analogy used. An athlete knows they get stronger during rest, allowing the training to take effect. It's not laziness, it's a strategic necessity for peak performance over the long term. Rest is productive in this model. Ideas incubate during downtime.
And this need for recovery ties into the idea of solitude.
Very much so. The Billionaire Mentor emphasizes the power of isolation. Getting away from the constant digital noise, the mindless overcommunication of modern life.
Why is being alone so important for performance?
Because, the argument goes, true inspiration and originality often emerge in solitude. It allows you to disconnect from the noise of the crowd, the cultural pressures, and reconnect with your own inner voice, your own unique genius.
Like hitting a reset button for your mind.
Yeah, exactly. It helps you differentiate between what society tells you to think and what you actually think. It's where you can own the magic within yourself, as one of the book's maxims puts it. Escaping solitude is seen as escaping your own potential.
Okay, so we have the daily structure, inner work, the need for rest and solitude, but making 5 a.m. happen consistently?
Right.
That's the hurdle. How does the book address building the habit itself?
Through a very specific process, the 66-day habit installation protocol. This acknowledges that it takes time and effort, and it really stresses that willpower isn't something you're born with.
It's a skill.
A skill, like a muscle. It needs to be trained. This 66-day period is broken down into 3 22-day stages, designed to literally rewire your brain.
Okay, stage 1. Days 1 to 22.
That's stage 1, destruction. And it's meant to be hard, really hard. This is where you're breaking old patterns, destroying those old neural pathways. You'll face massive resistance, confusion, constant temptation to just hit snooze and go back to normal.
So feeling like quitting is normal at this stage.
Absolutely expected. The book actually says that difficulty is proof that real change is happening. You have to push through this phase.
And comes stage 2, installation, days 23 to 44.
Right. Here, the new behavior starts to feel a bit more normal, less like a constant battle. But it still requires conscious effort, real diligence. You're installing a new habit, but it's not automatic yet. You might feel confused still, maybe messy, but you're making progress.
Still vulnerable to slipping back, though.
Definitely. You need to stay focused. Then finally, you hit stage 3, integration. Days 45 to 66.
This is where it sticks.
This is where the habit becomes automatic. It locks in. Rising at 5 a.m. starts to feel easy, natural. It's becoming your new default. The energy you used to spend fighting the habit is now freed up for other things. The key is persistence through all 66 days.
And this links back to neuroplasticity, the idea that the brain can change.
Exactly. The brain isn't fixed. It physically changes based on how you use it. The book uses the example of London taxi drivers.
Yeah.
They have to memorize the incredibly complex map of London streets. Studies show their hippocampus, the part of the brain involved in memory and spatial navigation, actually grow larger as a result of that mental effort. Your habits literally sculpt your brain.
So pushing through the difficulty of habit change physically alters your brain for the better.
That's the core idea. And it's not just about scheduling, it's about training bravery, pushing your limits like elite forces do to expand your capacity. Willpower is trainable.
It's an intense philosophy. As we kind of wrap up here, what's the ultimate takeaway, the core message beneath all the tactics?
I think it really boils down to an urgent call to live fully, to express your potential, and to make a positive impact. Because life is incredibly fragile.
There's a story used to illustrate that.
A very powerful one about a man with locked-in syndrome, completely paralyzed except for his eyelids, but fully conscious. He managed to write an entire book by dictating it through 200,000 blinks. He passed away shortly after it was published.
Wow, that
Yeah.
really puts things in perspective.
It's a stark reminder not to postpone living, not to postpone pursuing mastery. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. There's a maxim about keeping an hourglass in view. Keep the shortness of life front and center. Appreciate every day.
So the goal isn't just the achievement itself, but becoming the kind of person capable of that achievement, leveraging your potential.
Precisely. It's about avoiding that pain of potential unused. Look at the characters in this story. They find love, they build a company focused on service, but ultimately they prioritize internal peace and happiness over just fame or wealth. The entrepreneur realizes her peace of mind is priceless.
So the ultimate measure isn't your job title or bank balance.
But how much of your potential you actually used? The heroism you showed along the way, the lives you positively touched. There's that great George Bernard Shaw quote the book uses.
Remind me.
I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. It's about engaging fully with life, holding nothing back.
It's a challenge, definitely. A call to step up.
A call to become the hero of your own life. And according to this framework, that journey starts with owning your morning.
The journey begins tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. That's today's breakdown. While this discussion cannot replace the book's full text, it can offer a glimpse into its teachings. I hope you found this discussion helpful, and I look forward to sharing more. Let me know what book next you want to discuss.